Principality of Iberia and Principate of Iberia were conventional terms to describe an early medieval aristocratic regime in Caucasian Georgia. It flourished in the period of interregnum between the 6th and 9th centuries, when the leading political authority was exercised by a succession of princes. The Principate was established shortly after the Sassanid suppression of the local royal Chosroid Dynasty. Around 580, it lasted until 888, when the kingship was restored by a member of the Bagrationi Dynasty. This polity was centered on the core region in what is now central and eastern Georgia, known as Kartli to the natives and as Iberia to Classical and Byzantine authors. Its borders fluctuated greatly as the presiding princes of Iberia confronted the Persians, Byzantines, Khazars, Arabs, and the neighboring Caucasian rulers throughout this period. The time of the Principate was climacteric in the history of Georgia. The Principates, or the final formation of the Georgian Christian Church, the first flourishing of a literary tradition in the native language, the rise of the Georgian Bagratid family, and the beginning of cultural and political unification of various feudal enclaves, which would commingle in the Kingdom of Georgia by the early 11th century. History. When the king of a unified Iberia, Baku III, died in 580, the Sassanid government of Persia under Hormizd IV seized on the opportunity to abolish the Iberian monarchy. Iberia became a Persian province ruled by a Marspan. The Iberian nobles acquiesced to this change without resistance, while the heirs of the royal house withdrew to the highland fortresses, the main Chosroid line in Ec.It, and the younger Garamid branch in Clauget and Javaket. However, the direct Persian control brought about heavy taxation and an energetic promotion of Zoroastrianism in a largely Christian country. Therefore, when the Eastern Roman Emperor Maurus embarked upon a military campaign against Persia in 582, the Iberian nobles requested that he helped restore the monarchy. Maurus did respond, and, in 588, sent his protege, Garam of the Garamids, as a new ruler to Iberia. However, Garam was not crowned as king, but recognized as a presiding prince and bestowed with the Eastern Roman title of Curopalates. The Byzantine Sassanid Treaty of 591 confirmed this new rearrangement, but left Iberia divided into Roman and Sassanid-dominated parts at the town of Tbilisi. Thus, the establishment of the Principate marked the ascendancy of the dynastic aristocracy in Iberia, and was a compromise solution amid the Byzantine-Sassanid rivalry for the control of the Caucasus. The presiding princes of Iberia, as the leading local political authority, were to be confirmed and sanctioned by the court of Constantinople. They are variously entitled in Georgian sources: Aristivit, Mt. Avri, Arismt. Avri, Aristivit, Aristavi, or simply Aristavi. Most of them were additionally invested with various Roman, Byzantine titles. For example, 8 out of the 14 presiding princes held the dignity of Curopalates, one of the highest in the Eastern Empire. The medieval Georgian chronicles make it clear, however, that these princes, although they enjoyed the loyalty of the great nobles, were of limited capabilities since they could not remove the dukes of Iberia from their duchies because they had charters from the great king and, for the emperor, confirming them in the duchies. Through offering the protection to the Iberian Principate, the Byzantine emperors pushed to limit Sassanid and then Islamic influence in the Caucasus. But the princes of Iberia were not always consistent in the pro-Byzantine line, and, as a matter of political expediency, sometimes recognized the suzerainty of the rival regional powers. Garam's successor, the second and presiding Prince Stephen I reoriented his politics towards Persia in a quest to reunite a divided Iberia, but this cost him his life when the Byzantine Emperor Heraclius attacked Tbilisi in 626. Heraclius reinstated a member of the more pro-Byzantine Chosroid house, which, nevertheless, was forced to recognize the suzerainty of the Umayyad Caliph in the 640s but revolted, unsuccessfully, against the Arab hegemony in the 680s. Dispossessed of the Principate of Iberia, the Chosroids retired to their appanage in Kakheti, where they ruled as regional princes until the family became extinct by the early 9th century. The Garamids returned to power and faced a difficult task of maneuvering between the Byzantines and Arabs. The Arabs, primarily concerned with maintaining control of the cities and trade routes, dispossessed them of Tbilisi, where a Muslim emir was installed in the 730s. The dynasts of Iberia sat at Uplissuka, whence they exercised only a limited authority over local Georgian lords who, entrenched in their mountain castles, maintained a degree of freedom from the Arabs. The Garamids were briefly succeeded by the Nershanids between c. 748 and 779 80ths, and had vanished once and for all by 786. This year witnessed a bloody crackdown upon the rebellious Georgian nobles organized by Cosima ibn Kazim, an Arab viceroy of the Caucasus. The extinction of the Garamids and near extinction of the Chosroids allowed their energetic cousins of the Bagratid family, in the person of Ashot-I, to gather their inheritance in parts of Iberia. Having accepted the Byzantine protection, the Bagratids, from the base in the region of Caucasian, presided over the period of cultural revival and territorial expansionism. In 888, Ec.Domnowall of the Bagratids, who had emerged as a winner in a protracted dynastic strife, succeeded in restoring the Georgian royal authority through assuming the title of the King of the Georgians. Presiding princes of Iberia: Garami, the Garamid, 588 c. 590. Stephen I, the Garamid, c. 590 to 627. Ec.Domnowall, the Chosroid, 627–637 642. Stephen II, the Chosroid, 637–642 c. 650. Ec.Domnowall II, the Chosroid, c. 650–684. Garam II, the Garamid, 684 c. 693. Garam III, the Garamid, c. 693 c. 748. Ec.Domnowall III, the Nershannid, c. 748 c. 760. Nurse, the Nershannid, c. 760 to 772, 775–779 780ths. Stephen III, the Garamid, 779 780ths–786. Ashot-I, the Bagratid, 813–830. Bagrati, 840–843–876. David I, 876–881. Gurganun, 881–891. These rulers reigned as titular kings. Ec.Domnowall IV, 888–923. David II, 923–937. Sambat-I, 937–958. Bagrat II, 958–994.